he said a minute ago, Dallas mentioned a minute ago that the real life Jake the Snake is not a fan of snakes. He's scared of
snakes. I'm terrified.
You told me a story once upon a time years ago when you first met with Vince McMahon, and just to sort of, I think most of our listeners here probably were introduced to you in the WWF, but you had a whole run, a whole life before the Jake the Snake character. And at the time,
you were in the book.
You wore pull-up boots. They weren't lace-up boots. You had karate pants. It was a totally different presentation. And then Vince had this vision. Tell us that story again for those of you.
Oh, my God.
That's great. I love the story.
I was in Louisiana wrestling, Mid-South, and Bill Watts, Dusty pulled a rib on Bill Watts and sent Terry Taylor there to be his general manager. And it was a rib. Boy, was it a rib. But Terry was the guy that you talked to, to get hired and fired and about your position. So I went to him one night in Tulsa and said, man, you guys you're booking me third match, but whenever the show comes, I'm on last. But I'm not being paid to be on last. Why not? I'm wrestling Slater every night. And we're the ones putting this house in here. So I need to know what the hell's going on. And Terry just told me, he said, well, we don't really have a spot for you. I'm like, what? You don't have a spot for me? Okay, fine. Because they were going to keep Hacksaw and DiBiase and Dr. Death. And then Terry was the number 4 guy. He was taking my position. So, okay. So I got so mad that I said, fine, you got my notice. 2 weeks, I'm out of here. You do things out of anger sometimes, and you just dump yourself into a real bucket of shit. And because now I have no job. I've got a baby that's just hit the ground. And I'm like, what have I just done? I quit my job. I have no place to go. So I call New York. The girl tells me that Vince won't be back for 2 weeks. I'm like, holy shit, I have no job. What am I doing? And about 2 hours later, he calls back, fly to New York. So I flew up there and walk in the room and I sit down and he lets you sit there and stew, He knows how to play. He's the greatest manipulator of all. Oh my God. But he comes in and he goes, Jake, we got this idea. We're going to dress you in purple and lime green spandex tights. I'm like, wait a minute, man. Dude, I got skinny legs, man. I ain't going to bullshit you, and spandex isn't something I do. That's just, of course, I didn't say this out loud. I ain't stupid. I'm going to hear the whole thing out. But in my mind, I'm going, that ain't happening.
Right.
And then he's going, and we're going to put you with lace-up snakeskin boots up to your knees. I'm like, lace-ups? And I'm thinking to myself, because I've actually figured this out one time. That's the reason I went to pull-ons. In a career of 20 years, you would spend about 4.5 months of your life lacing up boots. Now, to me, that's pretty damn stupid. So I went to pull-ons. Simple. Why spend 25 minutes a day putting on the gear that you have to wear every day? That's thinking to myself, let me finish his story. And just about the time I'm about ready to tell him, this is stupid, I ain't doing that shit, he starts to write on a piece of paper. Then he said, and we want you to carry a 15-foot python. And before I could scream and say no, he had the paper over to me. And I looked down and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. Wait, that means, holy shit. Are you serious? He goes, yep. I'm like, those lace-up boots will probably help save my ankles. See, I started justifying it, see? And if you can wear lime green and purple, you got to be one tough son of a bitch. Those people going to make fun of you. So I like that idea too. And as far as that snake goes, Vince, I ain't got no problem with snakes. I'm ready. I signed it. And I know they tried to get me to fly back to New York to learn how to handle a snake. And I was so damn scared. I just said, oh, bro, I got it. I got it. You know, why do it? Why punish yourself? And so that first night picking that snake up was the first night I'd actually picking a snake up. And I know about 3 years into it, the snake guy came to me. He goes, Jake, do you know what part of the body a snake attacks first? No, what? He goes, your eyes.
Really?
My eyes? Why? He goes, the rapid eye movement startles them. And I've been holding the snake up here.
Right.
Are you serious? Yeah. I kind of learned as I went, you know, and which was a real treat because the guy that was getting the snakes, I kind of identified him as Charles Manson. He was one weird cat, man. One weird cat. He was stranger than strange. And he came to me, he goes, Jake, the snake that's in that bag, I promise you we'll get Steamboat for you. I'm like, what do you mean get Steamboat? He goes, he's gonna tear his ass up. I'm like, but I like Ricky, you know. And he just looked at me like, you don't mean that. And he's like, no, Jake, this snake, I promise you will bite the shit out of him. I'm like, yeah, but don't I have to pick it back up afterwards? You know? And all I could think about was what was going to happen to me. And he was right. That snake did bite the shit out of me several times, man. But yeah, I learned pretty quick that I didn't use boas. I used pythons. They have long fangs and they hurt. They really hurt. It was a real blessing when I went to the Cobra, by the way. We'll talk about that some other time.
I remember we were in Singapore or I think it was the Philippines, Manila, I think it was. And we were doing TV, and me and you, because we were working against each other then.
Yeah.
And
big mistake I made there.
I can't remember how the damn snake was in the ring. I don't remember if I hit you or I can't remember what happened, but the snake goes flying and now he's on the mat and we're still going. And I shoot him across and Jake steps on the snake or I step on a snake and it whipped up and got him right in the calf. He sold son of a
what
bitch.
A performer I am, right? Yeah, one of the funnier things with that snake was I went on a tour in Australia and oh my God, Thunder Jushin Liger was on it. Well, the first day, I'd never met the guy. I was wanting to meet him. Big fan. And I'm like, where's he at? Well, he won't dress in this dressing room because he's terrified of snakes. Like, well, the snake's not going to chase him down, brother. He's that scared. He will not even come in this locker room. I'm like, well, where is he? I want to go meet him. So he's on the other side of the Coliseum. What? That's bullshit. Well, I used to have a habit of putting the snake in the shower and letting him play in the shower before the match. And the reason I did it is because I didn't want anybody else to leave the building before I did. And by putting that snake in the shower, nobody would go in there and shower. You know, they'd go in there and look, I'll wait a while, you know. And I put the snake in the shower. I go in there to get it before my match, and the snake's gone. Holy shit. Couldn't find it. Well, match before mine, before and after, because after mine was Liger. He went out and wrestled. Then I went out and wrestled. Well, during my match, Liger was getting in his shower, which was across the Coliseum. Showered, and he's coming by the toilets. The snake comes up out of the toilet and looks at him. He streaked the building naked, ran right out the back of the building into a car and left. Went to the friggin' airport and went home 2 weeks before the tour ended. I caught some heat for that. I got a better payday because he wasn't there to take the money.
The other time we were in the Philippines and there was this very famous midget wrestler named Mascaradas Lagritas or
something like
that. He was one of Conan's boys. And we're all in the locker room. And Jake had put Snake, and this wasn't that big a python. It was a smaller one, but because he could fit it in his bag. And the Mascaritas was scared to death of snakes. So we're all just sitting there, and he comes back in from his match, and he's sitting right in front of the bag, and we're all just acting like we're doing shit, but we're all just watching him. And he reaches his hand into the bag. We're thinking, oh my God. And then he pulls it out. I mean, he doesn't give it a chance. It's in and it's out. And he does this 3 times. Like on the 3rd time, we all just busted out laughing. And he jumped up, and he could not speak English, but he said, Jake, snake, bag. He put together a whole sentence there. And I mean, everybody was busted laughing. And Jake went and he got the snake out of there. But that was, I wish I had that on film.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the.
There were a few snake things that were pretty funny. I remember the first time I got JYD with the snake, he sold it so well. And the thing is I've gotten a habit of accidentally dropping it over the side of a toilet, somebody in a toilet that were sitting down taking care of business. I just throw it over the top and it'd land on their head. Well, I thought about it, and I'd hear them scream and stuff, and they'd come out running, but I wasn't getting to see the initial reaction. So I thought, well, I'm going to do JYD. This is going to be funny.
Oh, my God.
So Harley threw it over the top, and I went around the front, and I was peeking through the side of the doors, looking at JYD taking a dump. I didn't think about him coming out of that door fast.
Oh,
300 pounds.
That door hit me in the face and drove me into the wall behind me. I hit my head and knocked me out, man. I'm down. And when I wake up, JYD straddled my chest. He's going, you motherfucker, you motherfucker, you motherfucker.
You picked a train to get behind the door.
Not a good idea,
bust
man.
Open. I remember
it's very educational.
When you first came into WCW, and that's at that point you're with the Cobra.
Yeah.
And everybody's like looking over, and there's about 7 of us who were all looking behind, and he's opening up the crowbar. He's opening up the latch of the wood that the snake comes in, and all he did was this. And threw it over his head, and here comes the Cobra coming towards us. We all turned around like we were 7 years old.
It was fun, man.
Yeah, little
back
stunts.
in the day, we were doing Survivor Series in Cleveland, and we get to the building, and the Cleveland Cavaliers were still practicing. I was there early, and this guy comes to me and goes, hey, you're that Jake the Snake guy, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, listen, he goes, what would it take to get you to throw that snake into the shower with all them basketball players? I said, get me a pair of shoes. And the guy went and got me 6 pairs of really nice Reeboks and stuff at the time. Here, take them all. Of course, I didn't look at the boxes. They're size 17, size 15. What the hell,
That's close to you, though.
Yeah, it's close, but not quite. But, brother, I took that snake in there, and I slung it into the shower with those boys. And you talk about some high-stepping brothers. And them legs were going this way and that way, and there was a lot of high shrills. I don't know, it sounded like women's voices almost. They were screaming, brother. But there's been a few fun times with them, but it really wasn't fun, man. Sometime down the road, I'm going to tell you some of the bad moments from that snake.
We've had a lot of fun today. What a fun time this was. I don't know what our expectation was, but we have exceeded it today. I can't thank you guys enough for joining us today. We're going to be back every single week. And man, I don't know that we've even scratched the surface, right, Dallas?
No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Touch nothing, man.